I'm Lee Bristow, host of Saros Insights and Director of Cyber and AI Governance. At Saros, we partner with the world's most recognized brands to make the complex simple. My aim is to deconstruct the strategies of Ireland's top business leaders, from AI governance, digital transformation, and some that are even scaling through acquisition. We're playing a bigger game, uncovering the human stories behind the technology. Welcome to our show. Today, we're chatting with Cillian Kelly, Group Head of Digital Project Delivery with Sisk. Welcome, Cillian. How are you doing, man?
Lee, I'm keeping well. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
So let's talk about the Sisk headquarter project, because I think that's a really good example in terms of how your team, your digital delivery team, actually became the customer within the build of that HQ. And then you used your 3D models, you used the digital twin, you overlaid that with the required data to be actually able to create real sustainable changes inside Sisk. Yeah. Talk us through that particular project.
I'm just over 14 years in Sisk, kind of starting from the trades right up to now the current role that I have. But in all of that time, Sisk, we were never the client. We were always the main contractor, the GC, delivering a project based off the project requirements. We'd go in, we'd talk to the client, talk to the design team, and we would deliver those projects based off their requirements. Whereas with the new head office presented a unique opportunity for Sisk and both for me personally, because it was the one project where we could actually develop out the client requirements and be both the client, the contractor, and now the owner and operator of facilities management team. So it was key to kind of build out that strategy, because I suppose it's the part in the industry that I think there's a gap there, that the awareness isn't there of the full potential of digital infrastructure within a building. So within that project, we set a brief that we wanted to create a smart digital twin. And at the time, I would have developed out an employer's information requirements, and how within that document, we outlined that we wanted it to be a BIM project, that we wanted it aligned with ISO 19650 for information management. Yeah. It was a retrofit, so it was an existing building. So we went in, we scanned the building, 3D laser scanning, and based off that point cloud scan, we then created a model. So with that model, we then gave it to our design consultants, and then they done their fit out based around the model that we provided. The design consultants created their model, and then we appointed an M&E contractor that we gave them a brief that they had to do their model, agreed the level of detail, and then agreed the asset information that would go into that. So that's standard enough process within the industry. But then the smart part on top of all of that is when we linked it to our building management system. So our building management system, which is common again in the industry, but it collects data points for energy, light, water, temperature, heat, humidity, air quality throughout a building. And what we were able to do was to connect our BIM model with our building management system to have that energy set. But then we also overlaid the occupancy of the building. So again, we had to go to the market and see what was the best platform to integrate an occupancy platform into the building, because we were essentially downgrading from the existing office that we would have had a larger space for different departments, and we had to then go into a hybrid office where we were, say a department might have had 20 places for their staff, might have been going down to maybe 12. So in order to, I suppose, sell that back into the staff, we had to have a smart way of doing that. And what we have is a booking system that you can book your desks in advance of coming to the office. We have permanent desks as well. But how that's all done is that we have IoT sensors under each one of the desks, that there is an IoT sensor that will tell occupancy of the desk availability, but then also head count sensors in our meeting rooms. So we know that that's what we're just in the building just over a year now. So we're in the stage where we're now analysing the data that we've captured. Yeah. So what we have is we have both occupancy sensor information, we have energy information, and then we have our as-built BIM model. We've combined all that together, and that gives you a digital twin. So that's essentially your I suppose, your framework for any client, for any industry of how you would build a digital twin. It might be more complex or it might have specific requirements. But if you're going for data centers and you wanted to get exact insights into the energy operations of a data center, you want to reduce that on an annual basis, the best way to do that is create a digital twin of your data center. Similar for pharmaceuticals, if you wanted to see, okay, well, what is the energy, or what is the occupancy, or what is the best production of the pharmaceutical plant, by creating a digital twin, you get the insights, you have real data to make real business decisions on. So what I'm trying to do and what the team is trying to do is to raise the awareness of this across the industry so that clients know, if I want to get a smart, digital, intelligent building, I need to have the core components of an as-built BIM model, of your energy data set through your building management system, and whether it's occupancy or whether it's a different IoT platform for manufacturing, that you put those data sets together to create a digital twin. And that's really, I suppose, the vision that we have for the industry to make it more smart and intelligent.
So I really like the point there that it was a smart digital twin. That was the biggest delta in that explanation, and the fact that you've actually been able to play that out in your own headquarters to then say, guys, this is what the real model looks like in terms of how the industry can actually move forward. Now, if you kind of extrapolate that out, say 5 years from now, so let's, as you've mentioned, you've built out your digital strategy, you've done your digital transformation within Sisk. You're now looking ahead in terms of AI and building out an AI strategy. When you take that smart digital twin and you could potentially extrapolate that out into an AI future, what do you think the best strategy is to develop an AI strategy that will support that smart digital twin?
Yeah, so with the AI strategy, we have different use cases for an AI strategy. For a digital twin, for instance, would be one use case, and that would be specific. So in the case where we're building an AI agent or an AI strategy for a smart digital twin, what you would do is, what are you trying to automate? What is the output? What is the goal of creating an AI agent? What do you want to do? Is it for energy management? Is it for occupancy? Do you want to run simulations of your building performance? And if you had a clear kind of brief of what you were trying to achieve with your AI strategy, then you can then collect all that data that you've been storing and start building out your AI strategy around that. And as I mentioned, this could be, for a commercial client, it might be on office space and office utilization. For retail, it might be, again, the retail utilization. For infrastructure, it could be traffic management. For data centers, it could be, again, the energy management on it. And for pharmaceutical, they might have a very specific need around their production lines and manufacturing. So it depends which industry and what building that you're trying to get those insights for, and then how AI could help you. Essentially, what the way we would see AI, that it would assist the people that is operating and managing the building, and it would make their jobs, I suppose, more efficient, and to get the productivity gains within their roles. That's really what the goal and the vision where we're trying to go with our AI strategy, is to really be like an AI assistant as such.
Yeah, so if I had to kind of distill that down, it's almost like a hub and spoke, where you've got your central hub being the guidance in terms of determining what are the best use cases, how can they be best governed, is the use case going to return an ROI, is there required data, and am I just potentially automating a poor manual work process or workflow process into a very hyper-scaled, poor digital process. And I think that's really where you see your role in terms of that strategy.
Yeah, because it's not standard across the industry that you have all those data sets available. So there's, large infrastructure projects, large healthcare projects, education projects that don't have those data sets. They want to create an AI agent that will give them information of their building and improve the performance, but they've jumped a couple of steps in order to get there. If they don't have your as-built BIM model, with all your information. If you don't have an intelligent building management system, or you don't have your IoT devices, but you want to create an AI agent for improved building performance, it's going to be very hard to get there. You're going to rely on information that's probably going to be incorrect, and you mightn't be fit to automate that process. So you need to, and it's very similar to how we've built our digital transformation strategy. We kind of focused on BIM and implementation of BIM and working collaboratively within a 3D environment, and then information management, which governs the whole process around naming conventions, around data, around flow of information, around historical data, and that's all governed by a process of ISO 19650. So it's an industry standard that we have implemented on our projects, but for a data center or pharmaceutical client, they have very specific asset information requirements. But again, you'd have to enforce and make sure that they're implemented and have strict governance throughout construction and into operations to really get the output you're trying to get from an AI strategy. And the way we look at it, your AI strategy is your North Star, and that's kind of where you want to go and the vision that you have. But there's steps you need to take in order to get there, and that's, I suppose, core to what we've tried to do. And then the digital project delivery team, from both the data management, the knowledge sharing, the BIM engineering, information management, and geospatial, they all work together really efficiently to try and make sure that there is consistency and that the data is consistent and that it's reliable.
Sisk has developed something called the Data Academy. You're putting 200 people through that academy. So is it people from within Sisk that you're actually training up to be data analysts, essentially? So engineers, foremen, because I think that's amazing, because essentially trying to teach data analysts to be builders, that's going to be quite difficult. But teaching a builder data analytic skills, that is actually a really interesting path.
Yeah, look, I suppose within Sisk, look, there's multiple different functions, and we all try and collaborate really closely together. So you have your IT department, and we have our data team, and then we have our digital project delivery team. So we work together really closely on, I suppose, building that collaboration around data. But what the data team have kind of established is a data academy where multiple people from all across the business can get trained up, can either do a postgrad or do a course where they can actually learn data analytics and bring that into their day job. So we have really good use cases of, say, for instance, the information management team. They're kind of governance and gatekeeper of the flow of information. But we have some really key people in the information management team that are now leading on the data analysts for the company, that are building out really powerful dashboards to give us really good insights into performance, into project performance, and how we're operating on a job, whether it's flow of design information, whether it's the amount of snags we have on a project, whether it's the amount of live permits that we have. So it's a key part of, I suppose, operations. And when we were building out our digital transformation strategy over 3 years ago, data-driven or a data-driven organization was one of the key pillars, and that was one of the key objectives that we wanted to achieve. And that's only been possible by working with multiple different people, as I said, from the IT department, from our data team, and then from our digital project delivery team, bringing in the rest of the company from the operations, kind of makes all that work together, and creates those sort of new roles that we have around project controls, information management, that wouldn't have been possible if we didn't have that sort of academy to bring people through, and to have that knowledge from both operations and then overlay the data analytics piece is really important.
Yeah. Everyone thinks about innovation or driving innovation is about bytes, but it's actually about leadership. It's about developing out that strategy and then bringing people on a journey to achieving that outcome.
Yeah, no, in fairness, look, that's with Sisk, it's probably one of the things that I most enjoy about working with Sisk is that it's a people organization. I'm with the company over 14 years, but I'm always learning from people that are in the company 25, 30, and finish out their retirement. So we're always, I suppose, learning from the experience across the company, and if we can help their day job or digitize what they're doing to make them more efficient in their role, they're going to be interested in what we have to say. But if we're trying to enforce a digital process that's going to make their day job longer, it's either going to be more admin for them. It's a not
really a hard no.
yeah, because we have to get the buildings built, and they've enough to be doing it rather than us implementing processes that don't work. So that's key to my role, is kind of making sure that we don't try and introduce a digital process that's going to make people less efficient. If it is, it's a non-runner. So we trial and test any digital process or technology that we're going to have in the company before we implement it, whole scale across the company. It's a big part, because what we found when we were building out the strategy, the feedback from, site engineers, quantity surveyors, planners, design managers was that, it's system overload. There's too much technology, there's too many passwords, too much login details, too many systems. We need to standardize this. We need to make it simpler. And we've made kind of key decisions to introduce new platforms to kind of make people's day jobs easier, to give them the right tools. Either in their mobile phone is now your digital toolbox that you're bringing out the site. If they need to get access to the latest drones, they need to get access to drone footage, site walk, laser scanning, but having that available on your mobile and having it secure and reliable information, it's a big game changer. Because when I was starting in the industry, I was printing out drones, and I'd be going around with a set of A3s in my back pocket, and you'd be opening them out and you'd be redlining them. So it's moved quite quickly, and the industry is changing, and so it's going to be exciting to see where it's going to go over the next 5 years. There is lots of robotics and automation that is slowly coming through that are going to have real big benefits. But the big piece that where I see it's going to be assist the workforce. It's not going to take over the workforce or to become a fully automated construction industry. It's going to assist the existing workforce that's there. It's going to give them productivity gains and make them more efficient in their roles. The big thing and the big trend, what you see if you listen to any of the kind of visionary leaders around AI, they're all predicting that the biggest well-paid trades are going to be plumbers, electricians, bricklayers, workforce, manual tasks that people still need to do. Even that's going to be the big change that I can see happening, is that people are going to become more dependent on high-skilled trades and workforce. Yes, I suppose from a digital aspect, there is an automation, and there is a lot of things that you could build AI agents to do for a digital role. But from a trades and from a people role, they're going to become more valuable. And what I'm looking forward to seeing, the trades and it being fairly reflected in their roles as well. So like apprenticeships, I'd encourage, the younger generation to really consider getting a trade, doing an apprenticeship for a couple of years. You can always step in, like a lot of the team that we work with, especially particularly in our supply chain, they're coming from a background where they were either a plumber, an electrician, and then they've done a master's or postgrad in BIM management, and they've learned the digital aspect of it, but they're able to apply their construction knowledge into a digital aspect and then build their career from there and kind of manage teams. But if they hadn't have got the apprenticeship and learned their skills initially, it would have been very hard for them to accelerate their kind of career path. So it's an important piece that I think the younger generation should definitely consider when they're coming through is trades and that industry.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I agree that is one of the areas that I think AI is not necessarily going to be able to address, because it's essentially those fine motor skills and being able to actually operate in the world in those really refined spaces. I think AI and kind of big robotics would potentially be able to do a lot of the heavy lifting, as you've mentioned. So yeah. Um, Complete change of tact. Looking at you personally, you've gone through this 14, 15-year career with Sisk. In the sort of last 5 years, it's really been around the digital transformation and actually starting to bring that leadership component. Has there ever been a moment where like the pressure of digital transformation, where it's actually gotten a lot because you've put your career on the line, you've kind of hedged your bets and said technology is the route to go, this is the way to do it, these are the technologies that we need, this is the product, these are the data. Has there any been a moment where you felt, oh my head, I've just bitten off more than I can chew?
Not necessarily. Like that's, I suppose, what I've tried to do is to do a lot of testing and proof of concept. And if I'm going to push a process forward, be confident that it's going to work and it's going to make an improvement. We do a lot of trials and testing before we would implement. Either if it's going to be a new piece of software or a new piece of technology, I'll not go and let's invest heavily in this piece of software or this technology unless I'm fairly confident that it's going to work. So that's probably some advice that I would have been given very early on in my career is don't overpromise and underdeliver. If you're going to deliver what you say you're going to deliver, and if you do better than that, that's a win. But don't overpromise and then underdeliver. That's So I suppose very early on in my career, there was a lot of blue sky thinking, and I had to pull it back to kind of go, okay, right, well, what's achievable? What can we do within the next 12 months? What can we do in the next 2 years? And then to try and that's probably a bit that I know definitely some people on the team might struggle with, because I do have a lot of people that is very passionate and have great visions around the use of virtual reality or the use of augmented reality or the use of geospatial. But it's we can only go so far, and the company will has to go at a certain pace, and even the industry goes at a certain pace.
Cillian Kelly, the technology enabler. I think that's just going to be the title going forward. Cillian, thank you very much for coming to join us today. This has been a fantastic start to the day, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.